ladies and gentlemen. Welcome in. Thank you so much for joining me in the live today. I really appreciate all of you guys for coming in and watching. Um, got some pretty key games coming out of last night. Um, we'll get into all that, especially coming in from like the NBA and stuff like that. Here, let me just not have the highlights going in behind me. We can do that here in a moment. Um, but yeah, we're going to be breaking down a lot of games, including but not limited to Game 4 of the World Series from last night. Some pretty close games that went down all the way to the wire, from the Trailblazers to the Lakers to the Grizzlies. So um, all that and more. Um, so uh, this is a weekday show, Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you want to keep up to date of what I'm doing and when I'm going live and stuff like that, don't hesitate if you're on all the other platforms, Rumble, YouTube, Twitch, um, all the other platforms that I'm going live on. Don't hesitate to go down, hit that follow button. You guys will know when I'm live. But before we get into any of the other details, if you wouldn't mind, um, please join me in a prayer as we're about to head into the latter end of the week and into the weekend. So for some of you guys, your weekend's going to be starting tomorrow, and for others, your weekend won't start till Saturday or till after you guys get off work on Friday. So we'll be live on Friday as well. But anyhow, before we get into any more details, let's start off in prayer, shall we? In the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Lord Jesus, thank you once again for another great day. Thank you for another wonderful Thursday. Um, Please bless and guide each and every single one of us as we go through the rest of today and into tomorrow, and especially into the weekend. Help guide us, help guide our thoughts and our interactions with the people that we meet. Um, Bless each and every one of us as we go through our day, as we pray, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. In the Father, and the Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. Appreciate each and every single one of you guys for joining and joining me in those prayers. If you have, if you haven't, I mean, it's not the end of the world. I just want to say that in terms of I appreciate every single one of you guys. You guys are awesome. So, with that in mind, we're going to get right into it. I just have not been. I'm just going to start off by saying I have not been predicting the World Series correct, like at all in terms of the winners. So, don't be taking my word for literally anything when it comes to the World Series, because anything can happen. And what I've been kind of predicting has kind of proven that just anything can happen in um, just big name, big stage, all that other wonderful stuff. Like, that's awesome. But anyhow, let's just get into it a little bit because it sounded like the Blue Jays were having some more fun against the Dodgers yesterday. And it looks like Ohtani did not play well. He pitched for 6 innings, had 6 hits, 4 ERs. He had 6 Ks on that side, but ended up walking a player, so it wasn't a great show from, or no. Was this game 4? I thought your Savage was having a huge. Not that what? Was that yesterday? Oh, what? What the heck? Where is it? They played on the 28th, did they not? What happened to game 3? Oh, here it is. Okay, yeah, so they did. Oh, it was game 5. Duh, I'm looking at game 4. Dumbass. Okay, so yeah. So I was doing. Okay, so I did have that incorrect. They. My bad, chat. So game 5 was last night, not game 4. Blake Snell ended up getting the loss. He pitched for 6.2 innings, and the point two is how many outs he ended up getting. It looks like he ended up getting about 2 outs in the seventh. Had 6 hits, 5 ER in terms of earned runs, 7 Ks, 4 walks. Savage ended up having himself a night. He ended up pitching for a full 7 innings, only allowed 3 hits and 1 run. Um, threw, uh, gave the chair or punched out um, 12 batters. So a huge night for, it sounds like, the rookie Trey Savage, as he ends up getting the win. This one also ended up being only decided by 9 innings. Um, but the Dodgers could only find a way to get 1 run in 9 innings. So, in a World Series, that is huge for only allowing 1 run in 9 innings. Like that's crazy. Um, like Otani didn't really play well. Um, your guys that went on base. I mean, Teoscar Hernandez ended up getting on base twice. Like when you only get on base 4 times and they end up getting on base at least 9, not having you're not having a good day, and they're probably almost walking circles around you at that point. So it's headed back to Toronto for game 6 and 7. Um, we'll get a little bit more into the Friday and the Saturday um, games here in a little bit. I'm just going to be throwing my hands up and saying I really don't know who's going to win. I'm probably going to predict the Blue Jays to win, but we'll get more into details on my predictions of those come tomorrow, and what the lineups potentially are going to look like and whatnot. So um, that's it from the World Series. I don't really have a ton of highlights to really go over and stuff like that. So um, yeah, just Savage was just having himself a night last night. So um, if you hadn't watched the highlights already, go ahead and just look up World Series Game 5 highlights. You should be able to find it pretty quickly. Um, but moving on to the NBA from last night, there were a lot of huge, huge games from last night. Um, well, I wouldn't say huge games. I would say a lot of close games because we still okay, we're still live. It's just my stupid little thing is not live. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. Anyhow, so one of the close games ended up being one that I thought the Pacers were going to find a way to win. It turns out I think they were a buzzer beater short. Um, ended up, yeah, I think they were a buzzer beater short. If I was watching the highlights correctly, they were a buzzer beater short from winning this game, but Dallas ended up getting the win at home. Key contributors from last night's game. Oh, they ended up switching where all the stuff is. Okay. Um, Yeah, so key contributors from this game in Dallas. For the Pacers, it ended up being Pascal Siakam, who ended the night with a double double, 27 points, 13 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, um, 9 of oh, 7 of 12 from the charity stripe. Another key contributor from the Pacers, Jarvis Walker, ended the night with 20 points, 6 boards, 5 assists, 3 steals, 1 block. Looking through the rest of his box score here, 6 of 7 from the charity stripe. Another key contribution from him. Top scorer coming off the bench, Rajay Dennis. Into the night with 17 points, 5 boards, 5 assists, 6 of 13 from the field, 4 of 7 from three, 1 of 2 from the charity stripe. As the Pacers ended up falling short in this game. Dallas Mavericks, on the other hand, top scorer ended up being Cooper Flag in terms of the starting position. But coming off the bench, you have Dwight Powell and Brandon Williams ended up being the top scorers for that team as a whole. But breaking down Cooper Flag's stats, he ended the night with a double-double with 15 points, 10 boards, 4 assists, 1 block, 6 of 11 from the field. He did not take a shot from behind the arc, but ended the night from the charity stripe at 100%, 3 for 3. So huge night for the rookie Cooper Flag, but the main storyline comes from the bench. Brandon Williams ended the night with 20 points, 7 boards, 2 assists, no steals, 1 block, 9 of 14 from the field, 2 of 2 from the charity stripe. So a big night from Brandon Williams. And then stop your stupid shit. Excuse me. You don't need to do that right now. And then Brandon Williams, or excuse me, we were just talking about him, and then right behind him ended up being Dwight Powell, ended the night with 18 points, 6 boards, 1 steal, 2 blocks, 4 of 6 from the field, 10 of 12 from the charity stripe. So a huge night from Dwight Powell and Brandon Williams coming off the bench as they end up taking the win in American Airlines Center in Dallas. Looks like the Pacers ended up taking the lead at the end of the first. Gap ended up getting narrowed a little bit going into half. 55 to 52 was your score going into half. And then Dallas ended up taking it the rest of the way, outscoring the Pacers 55 to 50 was the second half spread between the Mavericks and the Pacers. Final score ended up being 107 to 105 as the Dallas Mavericks take that win in American Airlines Center. Next game that was pretty close, I kind of was expecting to be close, but I was kind of hoping that the Jazz were going to find a way to get the dub. But unfortunately, they did not. Key contributors from this game coming out of Utah, or coming out of Salt Lake City, rather, in the Delta Center, ended up being Drew Holiday, who ended the night after 35 minutes of play with 27 points, 5 boards, 8 assists, 2 steals, 10 of 16 from the field, 3 of 8 from the three-point land, 4 of 4 from the charity stripe. So a huge night from Drew Holiday. A couple of other key contributors from their starting lineup, in particular, Shaedon Sharpe and Denny I don't know how to say his last name, so I apologize for not being able to pronounce it at all. Um, but um, Denny ended the night after 34 minutes of play with 19 points, 9 boards. So he almost ended up with a double double. 5 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. 6 of 12 from the field, 7 of 10 from the charity stripe. So a solid night from Denny. Shaden Sharp was right behind him. 24 minutes of play with 18 points, 4 boards, and nothing from assists or steals or blocks. But 6 of 14 from the field, 4 of 8 from 3, and 2 of 2 from the charity stripe. So huge, huge contribution there from Mr. Sharp. Top scorer coming off the bench ended up being Jeremy Grant. After 25 minutes of play, ended the night with 18 points, 3 boards, 1 assist, 2 steals. Uh, 4 of 12 from the field, 3 of 7 from 3, 7 of 7 from the charity stripe. So huge night from Jeremy Grant coming off the bench. So, to say the least, without Damian Lillard and Scoot Henderson, they were able to find a way to get the dub. But coming off or looking over to the Jazz in terms of their contributions from last night, Larry Markkinen, another key night from him after his 51-point night from the previous game, not this game, but from the previous game. He ended the night after 38 points, after 38 minutes with 32 points, 5 boards, 2 assists, 3 steals, 3 blocks, 10 of 19 from the field, 2 of 7 from 3, and 10 of 12 from the charity stripe. So a huge contribution, even though they fell short last night. Um, Another key contributor for the Jazz after 32 minutes of play was Keontae George, who ended the night with 29 points, 2 steals, 8 assists, 1 steal, 6 of 14 from the field, and 2 of 5 from 3 with 15 of 15 from the charity stripe. So finding a way to not only get to the cup and try to get a foul call, but getting those foul calls and cashing in on those easy free throw shots. So Keontae George must have been working on those free throws in the off season because he's starting out pretty hot in terms of going to the charity stripe. Also, a key contributor after was Walker Kessler, who after 32 minutes of play ended the night with 18 points, 12 boards. So he ended up with a double double, 4 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, 7 of 12 from the field, 3 of 4 from 3, 1 of 3 from the charity stripe. So even though he's got to work a little bit on his free throw game, he still made a huge contribution, especially notching up that double double, which is not easy to do, especially in the NBA. So um, kudos to Kessler for making that happen. Key contributor coming off the bench, or top scorer coming off the bench, I should say, ended up being Yusuf Nurkic, who after 16 minutes of play ended the night with 13 points, 4 boards, 4 assists, 1 steal, 4 from the charity stripe because the other stats are not entirely looking great in terms of accuracy for him, but ended the night with 4 of 10 from the field, 1 of 3 from the 3-point land. But um, ultimately, the Jazz ended up falling short. They ended up taking the lead at the end of the first quarter. They were up by 10 points, 33-43 was the final score after one. Looks like 76-73. So Portland went into the half up by 3, and then the rest of the way was all Portland, even though, yeah, because it looks like they outscored the Jazz 57. Oh no. 61-57 ended up being what the Jazz outscored Portland by, but ultimately the final score ended up being Portland Trailblazers taking the win, 136, 134. There was not a buzzer beater. No, this was not the one where there was a buzzer beater at the end. I think there might have been one pretty close, but um, not in this game in particular. Um, but yeah, fun. Yeah, that's it from that game. This game went down to the wire, kind of as a lot of people probably would have expected. I didn't think it was going to, just because I didn't think the Timberwolves were going to stick around. Um, well, not only stick around, let alone have a lead against the Lakers, because you got a guy by the name of Austin Reeves who's been balling out for the Lakers these past few games in particular, especially with Luka Doncic and LeBron out. Like, he's been huge for the Lakers these past few games in terms of when they've been winning. Um, and they won again last night, and he had a buzzer beater. So, like, kudos to him for having a huge game and then some, just to put some icing on the cake, honestly. Um, but yeah, key contributors from last night's game for the Lakers, as usual, ended up being Austin Reeves. Um, After 40 minutes of play, he ended the night with a double double with 28 points, one board, 16 assists, two steals, um, 9 of 24 from the field, which isn't entirely great. 7 of 7 from the charity stripe, but I mean, even then with the double double and whatnot, there, like, what else can you say about this guy? I mean, he's playing he's playing like his butt's on fire or something. Because my goodness. Um, Another key contributor that also had a double double last night was DeAndre Ayton, who ended the night after 35 minutes of play with 17 points, 10 boards, 3 assists, 1 block, 8 of 11 from the field, and 1 of 2 from the charity stripe. So another huge um, double double from DeAndre Ayton. Um, let's see. Do, 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 do. Um, Another top scorer, Jake LaRavia. I think that's how you say his last name. Um, After 37 minutes of play, ended the night with 27 points, 8 boards, 2 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, 10 of 11 from the field, 5 of 6 from 3, 2 of 5 from the charity stripe. So needs to work a little bit on the free throws, but other than that, another big night from the starters of LA. Key guy coming off the bench, Dalton Connect. After 36 minutes of play, ended the night with 15 points, 1 board, 1 assist, 1 steal, 2 blocks, 7 of 12 from the field, 1 of 5 from 3. Nothing for the charity stripe, but um, still a huge contribution nonetheless with 15 points there. So um, kudos to the Lakers for finding a way. Um, Big names that ended up scoring a ton for the Timberwolves, even though they didn't win this game. Julius Randle and Jaden McDaniels. Julius Randle played 36 minutes. In those 36 minutes, he ended the night with 33 points, 5 boards, 6 assists, 1 steal, 10 of 20 from the field, 4 of 7 from 3, and 9 of 10 from the charity stripe. So a huge night from Julius Randle. Jaden McDaniels also had a big night after 41 minutes of play, had 30 points, 7 boards, 1 assist, 1 steal, 11 of 19 from the field, 3 of 4 from 3, 5 of 5 from the charity stripe. So another huge, huge night um, from both usual suspects there. Not a key contributor coming off the bench for the Timberwolves. I mean, you got some big names in Nas Reed and Bones Highland and Rob Dillingham, but other than that, um, they didn't really have anything in terms of double figures. Um, but Dante DiVincenzo also had himself a night in terms of contribution. Um, Even though he only played 34 minutes of play, he had 14 points, 4 boards, 6 assists, 1 steal, 4 of 7 from the field, 3 of 5 from three, and 3 of 3 from the charity stripe. So, excuse me, another huge night from him. Excuse me. Even though, as a squad, they did not end up cashing in on a potential win in Minnesota. Like this, I saw a replay of this highlight in particular, and my goodness, was it insane! Let's watch this again. You're looking at the top side here, or no, that's not it. I want this one. No, I want this one. Like this one. Stupid. Wait, what? What? Oh, here we go. Here we go. Austin Reeves with the ball, takes the pick and roll against Rudy Gobert, makes the floater with no time left on the clock. Lakers get the win, 116-115 your final score, and a just monstrous night from Austin Reeves, which is insane. Like he's having himself a season so far. We'll take a look. We'll take a look at the stats later on, but Austin Reeves is having himself a season. Like my goodness. Anyways, um, Minnesota ended up taking the lead into the second quarter. 34-32 was the final after one. 62 62-58 was the score going into half, with the Lakers still being up. And then yeah, the Timberwolves kind of narrowed the gap a little bit. They held the Lakers to only 19 points, but those 19 points were just enough for their Lakers to keep the lead and win the game. So, um, well, not keep the lead, I should say, to was enough points to notch the win in Minnesota. Another game that was close, and I think had a oh, there was another game that had a close. Maybe it wasn't this game, but I saw that there was another game that was close. That oh, it was the Pacers and the um, yeah, because I think I saw a highlight where it was like it was the game from earlier that I was talking about, the Pacers and the Mavericks. There we go. I couldn't think of the name for a second, but there was a chance for another cool buzzer beater at the end, but the Pacers ended up missing that, um, which was one of the reasons why they fell short. Uh, but anyhow, going into this game, Phoenix Suns not looking too good so far to start the season, as they end up falling 1-4 after this game. Um, Memphis Grizzlies end up winning only by 1 point, but getting into some of the key contributors from last night's game for Memphis Grizzlies, you got John Morant as a usual suspect, who ended the night after 32 minutes of play with 28 points, 8 boards, 7 assists, 2 steals, 10 of 19 from the field, 3 of 8 from three, 5 of 5 from the charity stripe. So a huge night from John Morant as usual. Next guy did have a big contribution from the starters in general from the Grizzlies. Ended up being Jaren Jackson Jr., who played 32 minutes. And in those 32 minutes, had 18 points, 6 boards, 8 assists, 3 steals, 1 block, 7 of 14 from the field, 2 of 6 from 3, 2 of 4 from the charity stripe. So needs to work a little bit on his free throw, I think, because he was 50%. But I think he and the Memphis Grizzlies are going to be fine. two really key contributors coming off the bench for the Memphis Grizzlies ended up being Santi Aldama and Cedric Coward. Aldama ended the night after 31 minutes with 14 points, 10 boards, 5 assists, 3 steals, 6 of 2 from the field, 2 of 5 from 3. So a double double to end the night for Aldama. Um, and yeah, just pretty accurate from the rest of the way. Another key contributor, Cedric Coward, ended the night with after 28 minutes of play with 14 points, 4 boards, 1 assist, 1 block, 5 of 10 from the field, 2 of 3 from 3, and 2 of 2 from the charity stripe. So just contributions all the way around from Cedric Coward. Um, and for the Phoenix Suns, uh, top contributor as usual is going to be Devin Booker. Um, Ended the night after 36 minutes of play with 32 points, 4 boards, 3 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, 10 of 26 from the field, 8 of 9 from the charity stripe. So a huge night from Devin Booker, even though he didn't really shoot well from the 3-point land. Only 4 of 11 was what he shot from 3, but even still, 32 points is huge, especially if you get the dub. Like, kudos to Devin Booker for finding a way to, you know, continue to get his bread, and um, hopefully we'll see another good season from Devin Booker because he's a pretty good player coming out of Phoenix, even though the Phoenix haven't been doing, or excuse me, even though the Suns have not been doing too well. Um, Mark Williams was another top contributor. Um, After playing 28 minutes, he had 20 points, or not 2 boards, that's 12. 12 boards, 1 assist, 4 steals, 1 block, 9 of 12 from the field, 2 of 2 from the charity stripe. So huge night from Mark Williams. Um, Also, Royce O'Neal had a huge night after 35 minutes of play, had 18 points, 3 boards, 5 assists, 6 of 12 from the field, and 6 of 11 from 3. So big night from O'Neal, top contributor coming off the bench for the Suns ended up being Colin Gillespie. Um, had 31 minutes of play with 14 points, six boards, 5 assists, 2 steals, 1 block, 5 of 10 from the field, 3 of 7 from 3, 1 of 2 from the charity stripe. So a um, huge night from him as well. Um, Going and looking at the box score here, Memphis ended up taking the lead by 1. Going into the second quarter, getting into halftime, it was 49-53 with the Suns up. And then the Memphis Grizzlies ended up out 50, 60 points. Yeah, Memphis Grizzlies ended up scoring or outscoring, excuse me, the Phoenix Suns in the second half, 65-60, as the Grizzlies ended up taking the win in the Mortgage Matchup Center in Phoenix, Arizona. Which Arizona is a beautiful, beautiful place, by the way. I highly recommend any one of you guys that are planning on traveling. I mean, probably not now because it's starting to get winter time and stuff like that. But if you are traveling around, if you can find a way to go to Arizona because Arizona's flipping beautiful. Like it's amazing how beautiful it is. Um, as we get into um, the games coming into tonight from the NBA, there's not as many games in terms of from the NBA standpoint tonight, but I'm just gonna kind of go over just a couple of key games that are gonna be playing. I mean, yes, the Hornets and the Magic are technically a key game as well because I have a feeling that game's probably going to be close. I think the Hornets are probably going to take the win in that game. Let me just double check. Yeah, because if we go here, I got Orlando, I got Warriors. No, I'm not going to report. I'm going to report a comment. Anyhow, but as you look, I kind of made some predictions from tonight, even though it's going to be a smaller window. Obviously, you're going to have a key matchup between the Golden State Warriors and the Milwaukee Bucks. I also kind of think that a key matchup that might stay close is the San Antonio Spurs and the Heat, because even though the Heat might not have some key players, same with the Spurs, I think this matchup is going to be just a key one to look out for because both these teams, in my personal opinion, might find a way come April of next year um, to find themselves in a position of making playoffs. So um, look to this to be a potential. Um, I think it's. I think both these are. They're either both Eastern or they're both Western. I want to say they're both Eastern, if I remember correctly. Eastern Conference, that is. But anyhow, I think Oklahoma City is going to be winning this game tonight. They're just playing with their hats on fire or something because, I mean, they have yet to lose a game, and I don't know that Bradley Beal and the Washington Wizards can figure out a way to beat the Thunder like nobody has been able to yet. And the Thunder have played 5 games, so we'll get a little bit. Yeah, we'll get a little bit more into that probably. Um, Probably not today. Actually, we'll get more into the recap from that game tomorrow probably. But anyhow, key games that I think that are probably going to be close as we're going to kind of break down some of the games coming in tonight. Golden State going into Milwaukee, it's going to be huge. It's going to be in Milwaukee, obviously. Um, Both these teams find themselves having only lost 1 game. Coming into tonight, tip off looks like it's going to be right around 4 p.m. today in terms of probably Pacific Standard Time. I think it's probably going to be 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So just keep a lookout for when the tip off um, actually happens because this game's gonna be close all the way through. Um, Keep an eye out for Steph Curry and Giannis Antetokounmpo to have huge nights. Um, let's see. Uh, Giannis might not entirely be healthy, but I have a feeling he's gonna play. If he doesn't play, then I don't know. I think the Warriors might end up winning this game. Let me. I have the injuries up already, still don't I? No, I don't. Hang on. Let me just open this up and just kind of cover the injury report real quick because it looks like Giannis is a game time decision. I want to make sure I get this correct. Um, Game time decision listed as a knee. He's got a knee injury listed as probable to play tonight. So there's potential he could play. There's potential he could be out, but we'll see. For the Golden State Warriors, it looks like um, D'Anthony Melton is going to be out for another 3 weeks with a knee injury. And Alex Tui is going to be out for Thursday or for tonight's game against the Bucks. So they're estimating his return is probably Saturday or Sunday's game. I don't know the Warriors schedule off the top of my head, um, but yeah, he might be back. Which I mean, this could sway where my prediction is going to be wrong. I think, because especially if Giannis doesn't play, tonight look to the Warriors to find a way to capitalize big off of that, because especially if they have Draymond, especially, well, actually, hang on. Speaking of Draymond, I thought I saw something. Hello. I thought I saw something. Maybe it was just. Okay, I guess not. I guess I didn't see anything crazy. I thought that there was something where Draymond Green wasn't gonna be in, but I guess not. So yeah, so you got your potential starters coming into the night. All look like they're healthy for the Golden State Warriors. You got Stephen Curry, Brandon Pajemski, Jimmy Butler, Jonathan Kuminga, and Draymond Green. Probably going to be some key contributors that are going to be coming off the bench for the Warriors. I'm going to predict right now. You got Buddy Hield and Moses Moody. Um, Al Horford should probably have a good night himself. Um, and yeah, I just hope that Al Horford might be a really good fit um, for the Warriors, but we'll see. Because he could be huge as another big man, but also I think he's pretty old. So um, let me double check that though, just to be sure. Yeah, he's 39. So I mean, not to say that Stephen Curry isn't old either. I think he's getting up there. He's like what, 37. So, I mean, both these guys have been in the league for a really long time and they're still cashing in pretty well. So, um, yeah, just, I mean, if Giannis doesn't play, I have a feeling, or if Giannis is not a good to go, um, look to the Warriors to probably have like a decent gap come the end of the game tonight. If Giannis is in, look to it to be close all the way through, and potentially you, I could see this game not only being close, but it end up going into OT in terms of who ends up winning this game. Um, so that that to me is was going to be huge in this non-conference showdown, is whether or not Giannis plays or not. Just because Giannis is such a huge contributor for Milwaukee and just has been for years. Um, it just wouldn't it just wouldn't make sense to not. I mean, Kevin Porter Jr. might be out, but I mean, even still, it, it's gonna be a matter of whether or not he can play, because he can very easily give a team like 50, 60 points a night just by being in the game, because we've also seen it happen from him before too. So um, even though the Warriors look like they have a little bit of an edge in terms of what ESPN analytics are saying and stuff like that, um, I don't know. We'll see what happens, and hopefully Giannis can play. But if not, this might end up being Golden State walking away with it, and I might end up not having that prediction correct. Um, with the uh, moving moving on to the later window, or the last game that ends up tipping off at 4:30 Pacific time, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time, and was or excuse me, is going to be the San Antonio Spurs and the Miami Heat. San Antonio Spurs are on a roll right now, but they do have a tough challenge in the Miami Heat tonight. Um, I don't think that that's entirely correct in terms of the predictor. I think that especially with um, our what are the key injuries coming out of the Heat? Tyler Hero is still out. Terry Rozier is out. Norman Powell is out. So not a good look so far. Nikola Jovic Upgraded it probable for tonight. I mean, I don't know. I think with just with just these guys alone that are out, I mean, who knows? I wouldn't say it would totally swing the Spurs' way, but I think since because the Spurs are kind of hot right now, especially with them having yet to find themselves at a loss, um, yeah, just look to Wembenyama and um, the rest of the Spurs to figure out a way to get the win in San Antonio tonight. I would be willing to bet you their starters coming into tonight. Looks like De'Aaron Fox is out, so probably Dylan Harper is going to get the nod to start. You got Stephen Castle, Devin Vassell, Harrison Barnes, and Victor Wembanyama. So, I mean, I would say look to Stefan Castle to um, have himself a night as well to try to help Victor Wembanyama not take the entire load all night. Um, and then key contributor coming off the bench. If you got a couple of guys out, I would probably say Keldon Johnson maybe, or McLaughlin. I don't know. kind of kind of for the Spurs. I mean, when you're looking at this lineup, you're looking like they're kind of spread thin, but also the Heat are kind of in the same scenario. This is only like 5 games in for both these teams, and there's a ton of injuries across the board for both teams. But we'll see what happens. Maybe Victor Wembanyama has himself a 50-60 piece. We'll see. Um, but yeah, we'll get into a little bit more of top players and um, potential MVP race, um, stuff like that here in a moment. Um, this is 3-point percentage field goals, by the way. Um, Moving on to the NFL for tonight. I'm actually going to give you guys a little bit of a preview into some of the predictions coming into this weekend for Week 9. Week 9 kicks off tonight with the Ravens and the Dolphins. I don't really know exactly what to um, predict. I mean, if Lamar Jackson is finally in, um, look to this to be a dominant performance from the Ravens. I want to say, is he actually back in? Is Lamar Jackson actually in? Oh my gosh, he's back in. And JJ McCarthy's coming back to the Vikings. That's crazy. That's crazy. I honestly thought Lamar Jackson was going to have another week out. Wow. Okay. So I kind of take, well, do I take this score back a little bit? No. No, I don't. Because if Lamar Jack, we, I don't really know how well Lamar Jackson is going to feel after coming off an injury like that and how well his mobility is going to be. If he ends up still being accurate and playing well, um, I mean, well, I wouldn't say play well. If he ends up playing lights out in his first game back, this score is probably not going to be even this close, in my personal opinion. Because the Dolphins have just not been playing well all season. Um, if they end up winning this game tonight, I would be shocked if they did. Um, but I mean, who knows? A lot of things can happen in the NFL, so um, I would just say right now that probably the Dolphins are not going to be winning this game tonight, but who knows? Um, but also the Ravens have been without Lamar Jackson and a lot of key um, defensive players in terms of starters um, for the Ravens. So Um, and it looks like they even have one of their defensive tackles on injured reserve right now. So um, who who knows what happens tonight? But I'd be willing to bet you that the Ravens are probably going to win tonight, especially if Lamar Jackson plays well. Um, it's going to be a huge night from him. Um, I would say I would say instead of 24 points, if he does play well, it's probably going to be right around 35, maybe even more. Um, but we'll see. Um, let's see. And then we'll kind of break down the rest of these teams going into the weekend tomorrow, I think, um, in terms of like the scoring breakdown and stuff like that. But if you haven't seen the post already, I'm going to try to see if I can um, not only post it on here, but just post it everywhere. Um, I know I can post it on X, um, but or at least share the link on X. But if I could do it on my phone, I would. But uh, yeah, I might have to get something else to where I can just boom, post it everywhere. Um, not just on TikTok. That way, everybody can who doesn't have TikTok can see it. Um, but yeah, I think it's a key matchup. Not only this this one's a key matchup not only because both teams haven't really been playing well, but it's a key matchup because Lamar Jackson is going to be back in, and it's going to be one of those things where, who knows, who knows what the Ravens are going to be at this point in the season, and who knows if either one of these teams are even going to make it into the playoffs. I don't even, I don't think at this point the Ravens are going to come back to make playoffs because they might have lost enough games at this point to where they might not make it, but who knows? They might prove me wrong. Um, Dolphins, on the other hand, though, I don't even know really what to expect from them. Um, other than they might not have a good um, second half of the season because if you look at where the Dolphins are at right now, they play the Ravens tonight, they play the Bills next week, and then Commanders, Saints, Jets, Steelers, Bengals, Bucks, and then Patriots. So they got a rough remaining schedule coming up, um, starting tonight especially. So um, I would say I'd be hard pressed find find out that the Miami Dolphins are going to make playoffs after these next few weeks just because they were somehow able to find a way to win, which, I mean, it wouldn't shock me, but with the way that they have been playing and just haven't been beating teams that they could potentially be beating, like the only games that they have won against are the Falcons and the Jets. So, like, what can we really say about the Dolphins that's like good? You know what I mean? Um, so, anyhow, that being said, we're gonna backtrack a little bit and look into some of the stats so far from the NBA in terms of who's been playing well across the league. Um, a lot of teams have played roughly around 4 or 5 games, so they're working into week two, basically, of the NBA season. Um, we're kind of in the heart of week two, actually. Um, but anyhow, your top average point scorer so far, we got Tyrese Maxey of the 76ers, then Giannis Antetokounmpo, then Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and then Austin Reeves and Lauri Markkanen. Like I was saying earlier, Austin Reeves is having himself a huge, huge season so far. As we kind of look as his last couple of games, can we get the? Can I see all recent games from him? Yeah, because I mean, you just look at from Yeah, because opening night was the 21st. I mean, his point, his points, like from each of these games, averaging about I would say roughly 38 minutes a game. Um, but his last few games, 28 points, 41 points, 51 points, 25 points, 26 points. Like two, three games with double doubles, and yeah, I mean he's just having a huge opening to the season even after 5 games. Like not, nothing short of a huge start to the season for Austin Reeves, and could potentially, if he continues to play well, could potentially be making a case for a potential MVP candidate. This might be a little too soon for me to say it, but he's he's definitely wanting to make a case for himself right now. Um, and I don't really blame the guy, just because you pull off a 41 point night after you have a 51 point night from the previous night, like especially in a back to back set of games, like that's almost, I mean, I don't want to say unheard of, but that's kind of huge. Like you you come off a 51 point night and just treat it back with a 41 point night, like that's insane. Um, and then you kind of look at guys like Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, who's also having a huge season so far as well. You kind of look at his point spread. You got 35 points one night, 55 points in the second game, 30 in game three, 23 against the Mavericks, and 31 against the Kings. So, I mean, yes, he might have scored more points, but his kind of turnaround is a little bit lower than Austin Reeves. But I mean, even still, Shea's still, putting up numbers, and who knows, we might even see another big night from Shea Gilgeous-Alexander tonight. He's probably not going to disappoint. I'm just going to say that much. I mean, it's game six for them tonight, and who knows. Um, but anyhow, obviously, we're only just looking at points right now in terms of who's going to potentially be an MVP um, caliber candidate, but top assist leaders, top rebound leaders, um, usual suspects in Giannis and Nikola Jokic, um, Victor Wembanyama, obviously. Dude, Norton, I don't care about you, Norton. Go away. Karl Anthony Towns is up there, quite surprisingly, because I mean, excuse me, even with even with the Knicks having him play and he's not like 100% healthy, because he's been listed on their injury roster as like game time decisions for a lot of their games so far this season. Like for him to still be averaging up in the high numbers for rebounds is pretty impressive. Um, and then also Domantas Sabonis, so there's that. Uh, let's see, 3-point accuracy. We'll get into that in a little bit. And then you got top assist leaders: Nikola Jokic, Austin Reeves, LaMelo Ball, Keontae George, and Davion Mitchell. Um, and then Tyrese Maxey and Cade Cunningham. So, I mean, just taking a look at all these um, top leaders in terms of average points, average assists, and average rebounds, I would kind of make a case if these trends kind of trend in the right direction for certain players. Obviously, early on in the season, like obviously only 4 or 5 games into the season, this could be a massive season for certain players. But I would I would hedge my bets that Austin Reeves is in for a big season for the Lakers, especially if Luka Doncic doesn't stay healthy, and um, LeBron James doesn't stay healthy as well. Which I don't even know. I don't even know why LeBron James is out exactly. I mean, I've seen the injury status, but like, what exactly is that? Let me just take a look. SCITIA. Pain affecting back, hip, outer side of the leg caused by compression of a spinal nerve in the lower back. So that's why they were making a joke. Okay, we're not. Let's get away from that because we don't want to do that. So, no wonder Chuck was making the joke about him being old. Isn't LeBron James like in his 40s at this point? DeAndre Ayton's role with the Lakers. 22 seasons. That's insane. That is insane, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, granted, he's one heck of a player. Don't get me wrong. Should I go into the GOAT conversation here? Should I go into my GOAT conversation? Cause because in terms of top 5 players of all time, let me here. You know what? Let me go to this. NBA GOAT. We could talk about UFC potentially too, but what the what? Okay, there's not even a single. What the heck? Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, so yes, I'm definitely gonna get into this conversation now because we got a lot of we got a lot of players to look into, but also, in my personal opinion, the only reason why I'm even getting into this conversation is because I hear a lot of talk about this guy, and granted, don't get me wrong, yes, his longevity is absolutely insane. 22nd season, he's like 40, gonna be 41. Like, I couldn't imagine playing an NBA basketball game at that age. It's it's beyond reckoning. Don't get me wrong, but when you take a look at the other players that we're gonna have to talk about here, um, in terms of the goat, the way that I see the goat conversation, you have to take a look at not only you kind of have to take a look at everything as a whole. You can't just take a look at longevity, in my personal opinion, because yes, yes, you played in the league for so long, but also you have to take a look at what you did in the league for those years, right? Like, you played in Cleveland for a while. You didn't really do anything in Cleveland when you first started out, which, granted, first starting out, how many new rookies really cash in a ton? Like, you don't really see a lot of young guys coming into the league, and, you know, you see a spark coming out of them and making huge contributions to the team. And not only on top of that, you don't really see a ton of um, you don't really see a ton of those teams that have new players that do spark, as becoming stars of those teams. You don't see them being as successful in the playoffs their first couple of years. So you take a look at that, and I mean, even Michael Jordan had that, even Kobe Bryant had that, even Stephen Curry had that. I mean, I'd be willing to bet Shaquille O'Neal, as a first round pick, wasn't that great his first couple of years. Like, I mean, you just, I mean, it's almost unheard of that a rookie phenomenon leads his team to something more than just, I mean, yes, they end up potentially getting, playoff appearances and stuff like that, but in terms of like winning NBA finals or even reaching the NBA finals, like, it's almost unheard of for new stars coming into their own come the when they first enter into the league. So with that in mind, I mean, when it comes to all the seasons as a whole for these players, I mean, you take a look at LeBron James, for instance. I mean, um, let me just take a look at his stats from like over the years, because I mean, yeah, he played in Cleveland for one, two, three, four, five, six. I mean, he played in Cleveland for 7, and I don't remember him getting a win in Cleveland in those 7 in terms of an NBA final there. He went into Miami for 4, got a got at least 2 rings in Miami, because I think one of them he lost to the San Antonio Spurs, so it would have been 3, but he ended up losing to Tim Duncan and the Spurs one of those years. I can't remember which one off the top of my head. Goes back to Cleveland, and then in Cleveland, like 3 of those 4 years he ends up losing to the Warriors. One of them was obviously a spectacular 3-1 comeback against the Warriors, obviously. Um, that was the 2015-2016 year. And then in LA, really, really his um, only ring in LA is the COVID year. Um, Not to say, and I mean, granted, when he first started playing, it's like you see the games that he's played, like 79 games, 80 games, 79, 78, 75, 81, 76, 79, and then once he's in Miami, it's like 62, 76, 77, 69, 76. I mean, one season, 27, 2018, did he play a full 82 games outside of outside of 08, 09. I mean, and then outside of that, he hasn't really played a ton of games, or hasn't been in a ton of games for the Lakers since, like 55, 67, 45, 56, 55, 71, and 70. So, I mean, and this is not to completely bash LeBron James either, okay? Because he's one heck of a player. He's going to be one of those players that, like all these players that you see at the bottom of the screen right now, are going to be one of those players that are going to be talked about for a long time in terms of the GOAT conversation, um, mainly because of his longevity. I wouldn't really say in terms of like stat line, because his, like, I mean, he's basically off the charts in terms of how many total points that he scored, how many rebounds that he has, how many assists that he has. He's also been in the league for 22 seasons, so like that's like, in my personal opinion, I put him in the A category, since we're just talking about him right now specifically. Um, not not because the guys that I'm going to put above him are necessarily in comparison better, but in terms of the resume that we have, in terms of how many seasons that they've played, what they did in those seasons, and what, on the key stage, the NBA Finals, what did you do in those NBA Finals? Like, I mean, obviously he contributed. Don't get me wrong, but did they find a way to win? And outside of that, I don't really think that you can really count out. Um, I don't. I mean, I don't really think that you can say that LeBron James as who he is as a player, and in terms of how many seasons that he played and how many times that he's made it to the finals and not won, like he's made it 10 times and has only got 4 rings to show for it. Like he ended up losing to the Spurs. He ended up losing it 3 times against the Warriors, against Steph Curry and the Warriors, which this might be a hot take. This might be a huge hot take. But in my personal opinion, I would put Steph Curry above LeBron James right now. And I have another question that I'm going to kind of break down later on when it comes to Steph Curry and LeBron James. But my personal opinion, I would put Steph Curry above LeBron James. Just because Steph Curry has beat LeBron in the finals 3 times. One without KD, two with KD. And you can't and I don't know that you can really tell me that Steph Curry didn't contribute in the 2 NBA finals that they had Kevin Durant in. Granted, yes, was Kevin Durant's stat line very good for the Warriors? Obviously. I mean, why else was he the MVP for the Golden State Warriors in those finals? Like, don't get me wrong, Kevin Durant's great, but how like in my personal opinion, I would put Steph in the cat in the S tier. Same with Jordan, same with Kobe. Because in my personal opinion, the late great Kobe is not talked about enough when it comes to the GOAT conversation. Um, I don't know if it's because people don't want to talk about him. I don't know if it's like I don't know exactly the reason. Which one of these guys is Bill Russell? I can't remember. Some of you guys might be saying, well, but Bill, when you talk about that category, Bill Russell has 11 rings. Yes, I understand that, but it's more than just the rings in general. Like I was kind of saying when I was first starting this, it's more than longevity. It's more than just rings. It's more than just you know the key. Um, it's more than just the stat line as well, because what your presence is on the floor, um, what your contribution is on the floor, and just the GO conversation just has to encompass everything, not just the one-on-one matchups, not just the rings and stuff like that. Because obviously, if it was rings, nobody's passing Bill Russell like ever. In this day and age, I don't think anyone's gonna ever get up to or even close to 10 rings. I mean, LeBron James probably could have been close, but I don't I don't see that happening with anybody um, within the next. I mean, I could be proven wrong here within the next couple of years. There might be someone that just, you know, there might be a dynasty of a team that ends up going for like 5, 6 seasons, and is like, okay, maybe we're gonna be seeing somebody in this league who is the next potential, Bill Russell, you know, but outside of that, um, I think that's Elijah Wan, Tim Duncan, Larry Bird, or is that Oscar Robinson? This might be Bill. Wait, hold up. I don't know. Didn't Bill Russell? Who did Bill Russell play for? Hmm. Okay, so I did have that wrong. Okay, sorry. Okay, yeah, I got these guys mixed up. My bad. Anyhow, um, but yeah, this in terms of but yeah, in terms of top five, in terms of the goat, just conversation as a whole, I would probably I mean, in terms of number four, number five, you got a lot of huge names that, in my personal opinion, you really can't um, really can't discredit any one of these guys. Um, how many of these guys are there? There's like what 12? There's like 12 of these guys in this conversation. So like I like I said, it's more than just longevity. It's more than just rings, and it's more than just like okay, these stats are gonna be proving, you know, um, why these guys are great, right? So in turn, like my personal opinion in terms of like the accolades and stuff like that, this is how I kind of look at it, which is why I would say for me in terms of the top at least three, my four and five are kind of like still kind of mixed. Well, actually, I would say my three through five are kind of you can make a case for so many different players, but definitely my top two, and I don't think anyone's gonna, you know, pass them up for a little bit. But my top two are Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, just because of not only how much of a contribution that they've made towards their teams in terms of the loyalty aspect of it, because Kobe Bryant stayed with the Lakers, Michael Jordan stayed with the Bulls. Like Steph Curry is still on the Warriors to this day. To this day, Steph Curry is still on the Warriors. And I mean, you could obviously make a case for him to be at three. I would argue he's at three. But um, for a lot of um, what is in terms of why I would say Kobe and Jordan are at one and two, mainly because of their presence on the court, game in and game out, for the amount of seasons that they played. Like you take a look at what Kobe Bryant did towards the end of his season, and then you also take a look at what Michael Jordan did with winning three in a row, taking time off for I want to say it was a season or two if I remember correctly, coming back, winning another three after that, almost unheard of. Almost unheard of, and that is what is huge. And not only that, but you take a look at this at the comparison to how many games that he played throughout, and then you take a look at if I can take a look at Michael. Oh shoot, if I can spell it right. You take a look at Michael Jordan. I mean, he must have gotten traded, right? Am I wrong? Let me just look at the stats real quick. He got traded. Wait, he came back in '02 and '03 and didn't do anything with the Wizards. That's crazy. But I mean, take a look at this. He had 82 games. Must have gotten injured after 18 games played in his second year. But 82, 82, 81, 82, 82, 80, 80, 78, 17 must have gotten injured at 90 in 94, 95, and then 82, 82, 82. Like, you can't. And then 60, and then 82. Like, he still played 82 games. Like, insane. One of the key players that still played well also played a full 82 games of the season. Like, you don't really see that from most anybody in today's game. Like, it's very rare that you're going to see consistent seasons from anybody now. Like, even, oh geez, can I look at, let's look at Kobe Bryant. Let's look at Kobe Bryant real quick. Take a look at his stats. I mean, all Lakers. I mean, even he had some seasons under, but back-to-back seasons with 82 games, 73, 82 games. I mean, he must have had an injury that season. Same with these seasons down here. Um, that's really unheard of for him. He must have gotten taken out for an entire season. Um, but yeah, Lakers all the way through for Kobe. And I mean, you just, I mean, even with, yeah, even with Kobe, like some of his seasons weren't a full 82 games, but I mean, he he was probably the closest to get to consistent back-to-back 82 seasons like Jordan. I mean, just one season where he didn't get 82, otherwise he would have had 5 straight seasons with 82 straight games. Like, I mean, what are we talking about here? Like, you don't see that from LeBron. You don't really see that. I mean, I don't think you even see that from Steph Curry, even though, um, yeah, come on, me, me his stats for all the seasons. Like, I mean, he played 80. I think he got injured at one point in that season. Like a lot of these low game, like, but even with Steph Curry, he even tries, or at least at the beginning of his career, he at least tried to get in as many games as he could. He never got to 82 in any of his, you know, in any of the seasons yet. I mean, almost did his rookie season, but um, just all of it is Golden State all the way through for Stephen Curry. And I mean, and then 2019 and 2020. Oh, that was also the shortened season too, though. Yeah. So I don't really. I mean, I don't really know that you could really um, discredit him as much. Um, but yeah, I mean, I mean, obviously, you can make a case. You can make a case for Steph to be um, up in the top 5, in my personal opinion. Um, but again, with everything that you have to look at in terms of what, like, not only what your record is in terms of um, not only what your record is in terms of like NBA finals, what you how many times you've showed up and showed out for your team in the NBA finals. Like, you got, I mean, in my personal opinion, you kind of have to look at everything, right? Granted, I didn't get to see a lot of these guys play, including Michael Jordan, but I've seen highlights of Kobe and Jordan. Um, I've seen highlights of Shaq. I've seen highlights of Tim Duncan, and actually, Tim Duncan and the Spurs. I think we've seen a ton of. Um, I, I think I've actually seen a ton of him because the Spurs at that time had, I want to say it was Manu Ginobili and Tony Parker. Um, I can't remember the rest of the other Spurs players off the top of my head for who Tim played for in terms of when he won his finals, especially against LeBron. Um, so there's that. Um, I didn't get a chance to see Kareem Abdul-Jabbar play or Oscar Robinson or um, Larry Bird or um, I think that's Hakeem Olajuwon here in Houston. And then I didn't really get to see a lot of Magic Johnson either. Um, so for those of you that are Magic Johnson fans or Oscar Robinson fans or Larry Bird or Hakeem Olajuwon or Kareem Abdul-Jabbar fans, if you guys are those, I mean, I'm sorry, I haven't seen a ton of highlights of these guys. Which, I mean, don't get me wrong, they were probably great players in their prime, especially. Um, but it's hard for it's one of those conversations where it's like it's really hard to really um, outside of one and two. For me, it's really hard to really put anyone in that category. I mean, obviously, you make a case for LeBron, you make a case for Steph, you make a case for Shaq, and you make a case for Tim Duncan, especially. Um, at least for me, you can make a case for any one of these guys. Um, but without having not seen these guys down here, the guys that I have down in the C tier, without having seen these guys play at all, it's really tough for me to even put them in a higher category because I've heard that Larry Bird was a huge factor for the Boston Celtics back in their heyday. Um, I mean, obviously Bill Russell with 11 rings. I mean, he was good. So don't get that twisted at all. Um, but with with everything being said and done, I think you can obviously make a case for LeBron James to be up in the top five. I mean, you could also make the case for Steph Curry being in the top five. Like I don't really have a set top five as of right now. I feel like there's a lot of um, key arguments that can be made to kind of flip flop a bunch of guys around. Um, I mean, the next thing that I have um, in terms of questions to be asked, especially, is if we're going to compare both LeBron James and Steph Curry right now, I personally would say just because Steph Curry doesn't have as many seasons yet, but right now going into this season, you could very easily make an argument that Steph Curry is better than LeBron in terms of the career that he has had. You can make a case that Curry is has had a better career than LeBron. You can make that case. I mean, a lot of people would say longevity for LeBron. A lot of people would say his stat line for LeBron. But I gotta also look at the fact that Steph Curry has won an NBA ring or has won a finals ring before Kevin Durant and after Kevin Durant, and also has a finals MVP. I would be willing to make the case that if the Golden State Warriors have a huge season this season as well, because he kind of hinted that in a press conference at the end of last season that he was going to have another huge season. If he gets his fifth, I would say Steph Curry is above LeBron in that GOAT tier list, if you will. You could, I mean, I think there's a close argument between both of them right now. Um, Obviously, with the times that Curry and LeBron have faced each other in the finals, and um, I think even outside of the finals, if I remember correctly, um, I think they were kind of. I could be wrong, so I'm not gonna speculate, but I don't know. I just think that it's a huge. Um, there's a lot of yeah. There's just a lot that goes into the GOAT conversation, and right now, this is what I would say. I would probably actually put Tim Duncan above Shaq, in my opinion. I mean, Shaq was dominant, don't get me wrong, and he's got 4 rings, but I would say Tim Duncan's probably better all around than Shaq was. But I mean, we could probably debate that all day too. Um, but yeah, I don't really know too much about Bill Russell other than the fact that he's got the record for 11 rings. So, um, I mean, with that in mind, we're kind of running out of time for today. Let me just kind of close some of these out real quick. Um, but yeah, I would just keep an eye. I would just keep an eye on LeBron and Steph for the next couple of years because I mean, if once once LeBron starts playing, if he I would be willing to bet it's either this season or next season that it's gonna be LeBron James's farewell tour. Um, I don't know that he's announced it yet, but um, I would say the end of the road is coming um, in terms of a final season for LeBron. But we'll see. Let me just take a look and see if there's any big news. Uh, all right. I mean, there's not a lot of there's not a lot of good coming out of the White House right now. Um, what the heck is this guy? What's this person doing? Oh my word. Schumann needs to shut up. America is turning into one of the worst countries on earth. Really? Does she have any proof? And if her only proof is that Donald Trump is president, that's not a good excuse. Or not a good piece of evidence. Let me actually go to my truth because I thought I saw from Donald Trump last night a couple of key truths from last night. Um, ooh, ooh. Looks like they're recruiting a DC task force. Um, FBI fires agents, dismantles corruption squad after probe, unveils monitoring of GOP senators. Interesting. I thought there was something last night that I saw that talked about nuclear testing. Um, Asia. I thought I saw something about him talking about nuclear testing. Um, oh, here it is. From about 20 hours ago. This was yesterday at 5:04 p.m. The United States has more. Oh no. Okay. That was not the testing stuff that I was thinking of. Interesting. So it must have been yesterday. So that's not entirely news. Um, but anyhow, let me just show more of this. United States has more nuclear weapons than any other country. This was accomplished through a complete update and renovation of existing weapons during my first term in office because of the tremendous destructive power. I hated to do it, but had no choice. Russia is second, China is distant third, but will be even within 5 years. Because of other countries' testing programs, I've instructed the Department of War to start testing our nuclear weapons on an equal basis. That process will begin immediately. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So, I mean, I don't entirely love it just because I don't want, a ton of countries to just start nuclear bombing each other. But, I mean, if necessary, peace through strength, I guess. Um, but anyhow, it doesn't sound like the government shutdown is opening up anytime soon. More or less just because there hasn't really been an update from anywhere really about that. So I think with that, I'm kind of out of um, topics to really cover for today. What do we got, chat? Uh, Anything in chat at all? Any questions that you guys have for me? Any things that you want me to cover before I call it a day today? Um, I mean, other than that, I really don't have anything. Um, yeah, I think that's it. But before I do take off, um, and kind of cut the stream off, um, would like to just say really quick, if you haven't followed this already, um, please um, head down to the bottom. I want to say it's the bottom right or bottom left, depending on where you're on, especially if you're on Rumble, if you're on YouTube, if you're on Twitch. Head down there, hit that follow or subscribe button. That way you can stay up to date of when I'm live. But if you're watching this right now, I'm going to be live every single day, or weekdays specifically, Monday through Friday from 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Um, so I'm just gonna, um, keep it real there. Outside of that, I'm just gonna close out. If you guys wouldn't mind joining me in a prayer real quick. But before we go, um, yeah, I'll just kind of run through that spiel again before I take off. But anyhow, let's finish this off in a prayer, shall we? In the name of the Father, the Son, Holy Spirit, Amen. Lord God, I'd like to thank you for another um, good stream. I'd like to thank you for each and every single viewer watching this right now. I'd like to ask that you bless and guide them throughout the rest of their day today. And I'd like to ask for the intercession of the Blessed Virgin Mary as each and every single person goes throughout the rest of their day, and the interactions that they have with everyone as we pray. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Thank you so much for joining. Don't forget to head down into the sections to hit that follow or subscribe button so that you can stay up to date if you're not followed or subscribed already. Um, with that, I'm going to be saying you guys have a great rest of your day. Welcome in, Charlotte Eva. I'm good. Appreciate you hopping in. I'm gonna be potentially, or actually, I guess since you're chatting, anything you want me to cover before I cut off the stream? How are you doing? I kind of stopping this a little short, but um, that's good to hear. Well, I appreciate the chat. Thank you. I won't really disclose exactly where, but in the U.S., the wonderful United States of America. Um, what about you? Oh, nice. Um, but yeah, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, I will have to call it a stream for today. I will be back live tomorrow. Appreciate the follow there, Charlotte. Thank you. Um, but yes, I will be live again tomorrow. Thank you guys for joining in. You have great potential. You deserve a follow. You should get some dope stuff for your channel to. Yeah, I'll be working on that when I close out the stream here. Yeah. Do you how's this for an animation? How's this for an animation and a cutaway right before the stream? I'm an artist and do work for streamers and gamers and YouTubers for their stuff. Can I show you my work? Um, hit me up in DMs. Hit me up in DMs and I can chat with you afterwards. Um, right now I gotta kind of cut the stream off so I can um, do a couple of things real quick. But yes, yes, I have Discord. In fact, let me send a Discord link real quick. But anyhow, thank you guys so much for joining. Charlotte, I'm gonna send the Discord link here in the Twitch chat real quick. Yeah, I'm trying to drop it here just 1 second. Um, but yeah, I gotta take off real quick. But anyhow, let me Discord. What are we doing here? Open up, please. Okay, never mind. Hang on 1 second. gonna be saying I'm leaving like 5 times. I'm just kidding. Always looking for peeps to play with. Okay. I don't know the rest of it. So, 29. Testing. Bruh. Are we serious right now? Alright, Charlotte, I'm dropping it into the Twitch chat right now. Give me just 30 seconds here. But yeah, other than that, really appreciate you guys for watching the stream. Thank you so much. I will see you guys tomorrow at 1 p.m. PST, 4 p.m. EST. Um, thanks so much for watching. You guys have a great rest of your day. Enjoy your Thursday and watch the games if you can.